Okay, let's unpack this. In a world increasingly shaped by technology, where, every city aims to be smarter, the question isn't just if we collect data, but how much and what for, and maybe more crucially, what happens to our privacy. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a really thought-provoking work. Smart Cities, China's Model of Successes by Eduardo Moreno L. Specifically, we're digging into Chapter 10, which dives headfirst into, well, one of the biggest concerns of our digital age, data privacy. Moreno doesn't really shy away from the complexities here. He gives us this critical lens into how one of the world's leading smart city developers navigates that delicate balance, between groundbreaking innovation and the fundamental need to protect individual information.
Exactly. What's really illuminating in Moreno's Chapter 10 is that while he meticulously details China's undeniable successes in building these highly integrated smart cities, he simultaneously shines pretty critical light on the inherent challenges to the nuanced picture. It reveals that even with, sophisticated governance structures, the intricacies of data privacy are profound. They demand continuous, careful consideration. He really provides a comprehensive, almost forensic look at this whole thing.
And that's our mission today, to distill Moreno's insights from this pivotal chapter. We want to understand the unique privacy challenges embedded in China's smart city model, the legislative frameworks they're attempting to construct, and critically, what this all means for citizens living within these, well, tech-forward urban environments. You'll walk away with a much clearer understanding of this intricate and, let's be honest, often challenging equilibrium between progress and personal protection. So, Moreno kicks off Chapter 10 by zeroing in on something that just hits you immediately: the sheer scale of data collection. It's not just like a lot of data. He describes it as an unprecedented continuous flood. What exactly is the nature of this information deluge, and why does its sheer volume, particularly in China's context, pose such a significant privacy challenge?
Oh, it's truly colossal, and that's Moreno's core point right at the start. He illustrates how China's smart cities integrate just an astonishing number of IoT devices, advanced sensors, high-definition cameras, blanketing both public and even semi-private spaces. This creates an ecosystem that continuously monitors daily activities, movements, interactions, at a granularity we haven't really seen before.
Wow.
The stated aim is compelling, of course: urban planning, enhanced security, optimized public services, all good things. But the real insight Moreno offers isn't just the quantity. It's the unprecedented centralization and interconnectivity of all this data. This fundamentally shifts the power dynamic, you see. It creates a capacity for granular, real-time control, and importantly, retrospective analysis that sort of redefines what surveillance can mean, even when it's packaged as efficiency.
And that's where the conversation gets really interesting, isn't it? While optimizing cities sounds incredibly appealing, Moreno immediately flags that this centralized, extensive collection, despite its maybe good intentions, also poses significant risks to individual privacy and data security. Can you give us a concrete example of this in action from his research, something that truly underscores that risk?
Absolutely. Moreno provides a pretty unsettling illustration with the prevalence of biometric systems, particularly facial recognition technology, throughout Chinese smart cities. These aren't just for high-security areas. They're woven into the fabric of daily life. Think crime prevention, traffic management, even accessing social services.
Right, everyday stuff.
Exactly. The concern isn't just the existence of these systems, but their widespread deployment. It allows for constant real-time tracking and, as I mentioned, retrospective analysis of individuals' movements. Moreno argues this leads to, well, intrusive monitoring, which can genuinely erode a person's sense of personal autonomy, and it can create a chilling effect on public expression, even if the individual isn't doing anything wrong.
So it's not just about collecting the data, it's what's done with it, the sophisticated analysis applied. Moreno dedicates significant attention to AI and machine learning in the chapter. How do these technologies add yet another layer of complexity to privacy concerns? Especially around the effectiveness of anonymization, it almost feels like a game of digital cat and mouse, he describes.
That's a crucial observation, yeah. AI and machine learning algorithms, just by their nature, thrive on vast data sets. And Moreno directly challenges the common assumption that anonymization is some kind of fail-safe. It really isn't, he argues. He meticulously details how even when data is initially anonymized, where explicit personal identifiers are removed, advanced algorithms can still re-identify individuals.
How does that work?
Well, he gives an unsettling illustration. Imagine your anonymized public transport history, maybe purchases at local stores, even your gym attendance data, all linked. While no single data set reveals your name, AI can correlate these seemingly innocuous points to pinpoint a unique individual, effectively de-anonymizing you without ever needing direct identifiers like a name or ID number. It really shows how the theoretical protections can diverge quite starkly from real-world application.
Wow, that's concerning. If AI's re-identification capabilities already blur the lines of privacy, what happens when this data, regardless of its origin, is subject to specific national control? Moreno then introduces another critical layer to this privacy puzzle, the concept of data sovereignty. What does that mean for data collected within China's borders, and what are the implications Moreno discusses?
Right, data sovereignty.
Yeah.
As Moreno meticulously describes it, it basically means any data generated within China's borders is subject to stringent localization requirements. This isn't just a suggestion. It mandates that such data must be stored and processed internally within China. The primary drivers, as Moreno explains, are national security and maintaining firm control over critical data infrastructure. Understandable from that perspective.
Okay.
But this has profound implications for foreign entities operating in Chinese smart cities. They must comply with these local regulations, which can significantly complicate cross-border data flows. It creates unique privacy concerns for multinational corporations, definitely, but also even for expatriates whose personal data might be handled differently than in their home countries. It really underscores the localized nature of this global challenge.
So, given this unprecedented scale of data collection, the sophisticated re-identification risks of AI, and this concept of data sovereignty, Moreno then shifts to how China attempts to institutionalize this balance, how they try to manage it through their legislative landscape. What kind of framework has emerged to, well, tame this digital beast?
Well, Moreno identifies a robust and, importantly, evolving framework. He begins by highlighting foundational strategic plans. Things like the new type urbanization plan from 2014-2020, spearheaded by the State Council, and Moherd's guidelines for promoting the development of smart cities.
Hmm.
These aren't just documents, they're crucial because they provide the overarching strategic direction for technology integration and project evaluation. What's significant, he points out, is how they explicitly encourage data sharing and interconnectivity across urban systems. They basically laid the groundwork for the very data ecosystem we're discussing.
Okay, so those are the high-level plans. But beyond strategy, what about the specific laws Moreno outlines, the ones that directly target data protection and individual privacy? Let's start with the 2017 Cybersecurity Act he mentions.
Indeed, Moreno details a series of evolving and increasingly stringent laws. It's quite a progression. The Cybersecurity Act, implemented back in 2017, established a foundational legal framework. It was about protecting critical information infrastructure and ensuring data security across the board. It mandated stringent cybersecurity measures for network operators. This was then significantly strengthened by the Data Security Act of 2021. This act moved beyond just infrastructure to actually classify data by sensitivity levels. And it set very specific protocols for its collection, storage, and critically, its international transfer. Moreno highlights this step-by-step progression as key to understanding the government's systematic approach here.
And for individual privacy specifically, Moreno brings up the Personal Information Protection Act, or PIPL. We've heard comparisons to GDPR, maybe, but how does Moreno dissect PIPL? What are its unique aspects within China's governance structure, and what practical rights does he suggest it gives citizens?
Yeah, he meticulously dissects PIPL, also enacted in 2021. He highlights how it adopts a framework that is, in some ways, reminiscent of GDPR. It has provisions for user consent, data minimization, meaning, only collect necessary data, and it establishes individual rights like access, correction, deletion, and control over personal information. He knows his aim is clearly to balance the undeniable benefits of data-driven services with crucial individual privacy protections. That's the stated goal.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Well, the critical insight Moreno offers is how PIPL operates within China's unique governance structure. That's the key context. He raises questions about the practical enforceability of these individual rights, especially when state interests or national security are invoked. It shows how the theoretical protections written in law can sometimes diverge from real-world application and enforcement. That's a tension he explores. But Moreno concludes that the integration of all these measures, the legislative acts, the policy documents, the strategic plans, has actually created an environment conducive to smart city growth. It's effectively mobilized resources and coordinated efforts across diverse sectors.
Okay, so you have this double-edged sword of data collection, this evolving legislative framework trying to manage it. How does Moreno characterize public sentiment in China regarding smart cities then? Does he reveal a simple yes or no, like people love it or hate it? Or is it, as I suspect, a more complex picture?
Oh, definitely complex. Moreno paints a very nuanced picture here. He identifies a generally positive public perception overall, and this is largely driven by tangible, immediate improvements in quality of life that people actually experience. Think significantly reduced traffic congestion, simplified access to medical services, vastly improved infrastructure.
Yeah.
Things you notice day to day.
Right. Concrete benefit.
Exactly. His research indicates high awareness and approval, particularly from younger, tech-savvy individuals living in the top-tier cities. They directly experience these advancements. It almost suggests, and this is fascinating, a kind of social contract is at play. Maybe a willingness to trade certain privacy elements for perceived increases in convenience and safety.
That's a crucial insight, this idea of a social contract. Interesting. However, Moreno doesn't paint an entirely rosy picture, you said. He detailed significant concerns beneath the surface. What are the main criticisms that emerge from his analysis, even amidst that general approval?
That's right. While there's broad enthusiasm, Moreno meticulously outlines several key criticisms that keep coming up. The first, and probably most prominent, is privacy and data security. That hasn't gone away. Citizens express real concerns about the extensive and, frankly, pervasive use of surveillance, facial recognition, and data analysis. They fear potential misuse or state overreach.
Yeah.
The impact of large-scale data breaches is also a significant anxiety. That erodes trust.
Makes sense. What else?
Secondly, there's the digital divide. Unequal access to smart technologies risks making existing socioeconomic inequalities even worse. Could potentially leave marginalized communities behind, unable to fully benefit from these advancements. That's a big concern. And the third potent concern is job loss. Automation, AI advancements. They raise worries about significant job displacement in traditional sectors. That's a common apprehension in any rapidly evolving tech environment, of course, not just in China.
So, with these criticisms clearly laid out, privacy, the digital divide, job losses, what does Moreno say about how these concerns are being addressed, or at least acknowledged by the authorities? Is there a dialogue happening that he points to?
Moreno emphasizes that public engagement and participation are viewed as crucial mechanisms for addressing these concerns. At least that's the official line. He cites examples like citywide digital forums where citizens can voice concerns about new initiatives, or participatory design processes for specific smart services where user feedback is meant to directly influence development. Additionally, education campaigns play an important role. They aim to inform the public about the measures taken to protect their data, the functionalities of the tech, trying to build trust.
So, an attempt at transparency.
An attempt, yes. It's an effort to build trust and increase transparency through dialogue. Even if, as Moreno subtly suggests, the extent and actual impact of that dialogue remain points of academic discussion and further research.
Okay. This really brings us to the core tension Moreno explores throughout Chapter 10, doesn't it? How do you achieve the undeniable benefits of data-driven smart cities while simultaneously protecting individual privacy and maintaining public trust? It sounds like a massive, ongoing balancing act.
It absolutely is. And Moreno explains that China's model addresses this through a truly multi-pronged, adaptive approach. It combines those robust regulatory frameworks we discussed, advanced technological safeguards, and these continuous public awareness initiatives. He stresses that this isn't a static solution, though. It's presented as a dynamic equilibrium. It's constantly adjusting to technological advancements and evolving societal expectations.
Let's dive into the tech side of that balance for a second. What are some of the practical technological safeguards Moreno highlights, the tools they use to try and protect citizen data?
Okay, on the technological front, Moreno points to a few key areas. Firstly, anonymization techniques. These are continuously refined to remove or obfuscate personally identifiable information, PII. The goal is to allow data analysis for urban planning without exposing individual identities. Though, as we discussed, Moreno highlights the limitations there with re-identification.
Right, the AI challenge.
Exactly. Secondly, encryption technologies are critical, protecting data both during transmission across networks and while it's stored in vast databases. That's fundamental. And thirdly, advanced access control mechanisms. These are rigorously implemented to ensure only authorized personnel can access specific data sets, trying to minimize internal misuse. These are presented as essential foundational layers of protection in the model he describes.
And on the regulatory side, beyond just having laws like PIPL on the books, what does Moreno say about their effectiveness, their enforcement? Does the law have teeth?
Moreno reiterates that laws like PIPL impose strict requirements. It's not just about getting consent. They mandate robust safeguards for data handling, data minimization, purpose limitation, all the key principles. But more importantly, he notes that routine audits and assessments are conducted or are supposed to be conducted to ensure compliance. This focus on active enforcement is intended to foster a culture of accountability among data handlers and service providers, rather than just relying on passive legal frameworks. It's about building a system where compliance is regularly checked and, ideally, enforced.
Finally, Moreno emphasizes public awareness again. Why is that so important, and how does it fit into this delicate balance he keeps returning to?
Public awareness is absolutely vital for the success and legitimacy of smart cities, as Moreno argues pretty strongly. Educating citizens about data privacy and the measures being implemented to protect their information is key to fostering trust. Without trust, the whole system falters, and it encourages cooperation. Moreno stresses that transparency in data handling, clear, consistent communication about what data is collected, how it's used, who has access, is essential. This is often supported by educational campaigns that inform citizens about their rights regarding personal data, helping them understand how to exercise those rights.
So it's an ongoing effort on multiple fronts.
Precisely. Moreno concludes this section by emphasizing that this balance is dynamic and seamless. It's not something you achieve and then you're done. Continuous technological advancements and evolving regulatory landscapes require adaptive strategies. It's an ongoing journey, he suggests, to achieve harmonious balance and maintain that crucial public trust.
Moreno's Chapter 10 truly gives us such a penetrating look into the complex world of data privacy within China's smart city model. It's fascinating. We've seen the incredible potential for urban optimization, the robust yet still evolving legal frameworks being established, and the ongoing public dialogue or attempted dialogue around surveillance and trust. It really is a constant negotiation, isn't it? A delicate equilibrium between progress and personal protection that continuously shifts.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Moreno shows us something fundamental. For any smart city anywhere to truly be sustainable and thrive, it must not only be technologically advanced and efficient, but it also has to consistently earn and maintain the trust of its citizens. That's non-negotiable in the long run. And this raises a really important question, one that transcends borders, I think. In a world where data is increasingly currency, how much privacy are we collectively and individually willing to trade for convenience, for efficiency, for perceived security?
That is a powerful thought to leave you with, and one that resonates globally for sure. This deep dive into Eduardo Moreno L's Smart Cities, China's Model of Successes, specifically Chapter 10, has given us so much to consider. We really encourage you to reflect on these trade-offs and what they mean for the future of urban living wherever you are in the world. We hope this exploration has offered you valuable insights and perhaps sparked a few new questions of your own.